Hello everyone and welcome back to Always Watching. Today I am continuing my coverage for the Tribeca Film Festival with the short Shut Up Jack. The film tells the story of Jack, who after a bad joke at a party allows his anxiety to spiral out of control. Directed, written, and acted by up-and-coming artist Alec Bucas. The film beautifully captures what overthinking and social anxiety feels like. The writing in this short is absolutely impeccable, and I found myself laughing not because it was funny, but because it was so eerily relatable and true. To delve deeper into the short, please check out my interview with Alec in the description box down below. I've also linked all his information if you want to support future projects. The film starts with what feels like the inside of a serial killer's mind. Instead, we're introduced to Jack, who is desperate to make a great first impression at his coworker's party. During the party, he takes one good joke a little bit too far, triggering his mind to descend into this hellish chaos. There's such a thin, or should I say thick line between, oh, that was awkward, let me move on, to, oh, that was awkward, now everybody hates me and no longer wants to be around me and probably even wants to kill me. And this latter option is exactly what the voices in Jack's head turn into. The longer he stays at this party, the louder these voices inside his head become. Jack's journey is eerily relatable, and the short does an amazing job of actually showing what these voices inside one's head looks like. And he does this by creating two different versions of Jack. One that is a worrier and is constantly paranoid and assumes the worst. And the second one that literally couldn't care less. And these two versions of Jack, I felt, did a great job of really showing and articulating to the audience where these voices of anxiety stem from, which is usually a place of ego and empathy. On one hand, we desperately want to impress, live up to expectations, put up a strong front. But on the other hand, there's always this empathetic side that's craving belonging and understanding and community. Jack's sort of back and forth with his inner demons really show how difficult it is to control anxiety. In the film, Jack is watching himself through a TV, and he's able to control the voices in his head through a remote control, but he's never able to mute these voices or get rid of them completely. I felt the film was able to create this great space inside Jack's head to really show people what spiraling looks like and how it can be, just how you can kind of lose control. Some people can fight this anxiety and really bounce back, and others, it just consumes them completely. Personally, I have experienced the death spiral. It really does feel like you're going through the 5 stages of grief all at once. On one hand, you really want to perform, you really want to be the social butterfly, but on the other hand, you don't really want to burden people or, make people feel like they're accommodating you in any way. Like there's always this feeling of, I'm a burden, I shouldn't be here. The party would be so much better without me. To make matters even worse, social anxiety is incredibly difficult to identify in someone when it's happening in real time, and therefore it's really hard to show empathy to others because you just don't really, it's not something that you would catch in the moment. I remember I was at a party once and I was death spiraling, and this guy comes up to me and he goes, you probably wonder why you don't get invited to these things. And I looked at him, and I'm not gonna lie, my feelings were hurt. I was like, I'm sorry, are there things that I'm not being invited to? And what's really distressing sometimes is people can interpret your anxiety as being standoffish or rude or bored or bothered. That's often not the case. Maybe that person is death spiraling. Maybe that person is uncomfortable. But because it's hard to see, it can be a very isolating experience. Jack's back and forth with his inner demons and this space that the short was able to create inside his mind really highlights how difficult it is to manage the voices in our heads. There's nothing worse than watching yourself spiral and not really knowing what to do about it, right? It totally paralyzes you in the moment, and it takes years to even recognize that, hey, these voices are actually quite normal, and there are strategies to cope with these voices and with this anxiety in an effective way. I think what this short does so well is remind audiences of the importance of acknowledging your own anxieties and coming up with strategies to actually combat them. Like, this is an active process. This is something that's not going to go away on its own. And it's incredibly difficult, but it is possible. And although these voices and this anxiety might never go away, you might never be able to silence them completely, you can definitely lower the volume. So you guys let me know what you think, and until next time.